was watching a video where this lady was speaking about Cyan Bougie, and she was having an interview. She was being asked if she's selling, and she basically kind of avoided just saying straight up that, listen, I am doing this thing for money, but she put it plainly to say, you need to give me something in order to get with me. And that got me thinking, you know, when you look at society, when you look at statistics, when you look at everything that comes with being an adult, you'll find that women are more successful than men. On an average, women can take care of themselves way more than men. Okay, maybe not way more, but like it's a good enough metric that I can say confidently that women have their priorities straight when it comes to these types of things, like being well off generally. So it got me wondering, if more women are equivalently more successful than men, why is it that this culture of men need to give me money, so why is it so popularized now? And understand me correctly, it is not a bad thing for a man to provide some level of comfort or whatever you could call it. It's not a bad thing entirely. It is actually, for most men, especially those who don't actually have responsibilities like that yet, like you're not married yet, you don't have kids, doing that for a girlfriend is not an entirely a bad thing. It's actually, I would say, within reason, within responsibility, it can be a good thing. However, it's become so popularized that men literally pay for nonsense. Drinks at the club, vacations where a girl will go with her friends, and all of those things. And it has me wondering, do people understand the purpose of what we call providing, right? If you're going to tell me to provide for you, which again, I am not shutting down entirely, but if you're going to desire me providing for you, shouldn't the provision be for where you lack, not for pleasure? Especially if we're not married, or we haven't sat down and made a plan to live our lives together forever. I'm not courting you. I haven't met your parents. I haven't made my intentions clear. These luxuries that people want to live off of other people's budgets, is it not a bad thing? To be quite honest with you, to say, as a person, knowing the only value you bring to someone else's life is money. This person doesn't look at you for direction, for wisdom, because if I say protection, most women will say, but I look to my man for protection. But protection is such a, I don't want to say a broad term, but it's a topic on its own. So my thing as men, I want to ask you, the thing you're bringing to a girl is money. It means your value is equivalent to anyone who has the ability, the willingness to provide what you're providing for someone else. That's all you have to bring to another individual. But when you look at having kids, for example, you literally sit down your kids, you teach them about life, you tell them, don't do this, don't talk to strangers, learn how to do this, learn how to talk to people, be polite, do this. And most of the time you find that your kids, and people say kids have no choice but to love you, but they do. As kids grow up, you'll find that kids who grew up with fathers who were providers only turn out to be terrible people. And it's not the case for every single person, but you need to also see that what a provider, what a man is someone who gives direction, and that's where submission comes from normally, the direction that a man gives. So as a man, if you can't tell your woman, hey, clubbing every single weekend is not befitting of you as a person, you're not trying to control this person. You're not saying, no, don't go to clubs, I don't want a girl who goes to clubs. Don't do that. You're not that person's father. Yes, you are entitled to your opinion, and your preference is not to want someone who goes to the clubs all the time. But the same way you will treat a friend, to say, hey, my friend, you're going clubbing every single weekend. When do you get a chance to sit with yourself, to enjoy a movie, to go sit down and maybe like watch a game of football or without alcohol, participate in notable events like maybe a charity event or something that brings depth and meaning to your life? Why do we see that as a thing only reserved for friends? And are you truly, or do you truly want to be only that, a person who gives money to your significant other? Is that what you truly want to be, and that's it? That's all you want to be? You're just giving money in exchange for time and other things. Does that not feel demeaning to you as a man? I don't want to touch on women because I am not a woman, though I would say, for my Proverbs 31 loving sisters, there's a part there that says a woman gets what she gets from a man and multiplies it. So that whole concept of, hey, you must give me money, blah blah blah, like, yeah, multiply my money, multiply whatever I give you. If I'm giving you love, I expect love to be multiplied to me. If I'm giving you direction and wisdom, I expect that to be multiplied within the house or the home that we are building, or we will eventually build at some point. So this is specifically to men, to say, are you not demeaning yourself from everything else that you bring to the world by simply being with someone who only looks at you for money? I've seen amazing relationships that the boyfriend has, or the man or the husband has not achieved all his goals, but the woman has stuck with him, and so much has come out of that relationship. They have done such great things. I've watched my peers get into long-term relationships with their peers and build a life together. The marriages I'm seeing now, I've seen 3 so far, of people I've gone to school with, and it is amazing to see peers get together and build a life, because that just shows you there is more to this relationship than just give me money, let me live my life, all these glorious things that we wanna, and I like this phrase. Someone said, I remember it was a TikTok video. He said, oh, it's Meech, yeah. If you know Meech, check out his page, great guy. He said, why is it that everything that we label as bad, we try to stay away from, but when it comes to women, we want to get close to the baddies? They're called baddies for a reason, But yeah, so please, men, young men in particular, you who have not achieved your goals yet, you who have just finished school, And you see all these things happening. You see these men being the bottle poppers, and these guys are not very old, but they're older. They've had to come to terms with building a life for themselves. So please, young men, please, I am almost begging, because this generation that has come after me, or our generation, has the most potential. They are the most intelligent, have access to the most information, and the internet has now become filled with positive information. All the people who are trying to do right are trying to help someone one way or the other. So please, young men, I implore you, please, 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 value yourself. If you're thinking about going to spend 1.5 or however much at a club to impress a girl, ask yourself, what is the one thing I really want right now that I could get by just simply taking this money and redirecting it? As a young man, do you have shares? Do you have assets to your name? You might think, I don't have money for shares. Listen, if 4 of you can come together and buy liquor for the night, for one night, 4 of you can come together, register a company, buy that company shares, and whenever the money comes, you divide it. It is not a difficult thing to do. Yes, friendships fall out and you might be afraid of that in the future, but if you invest in yourself, if you take time to actually say, I am worth spending this money on, not to look cool, not to seem cool, not to impress anyone, but I think I'm worth it. Chains, very cool accessories, makes you look nice and all of that. But I then ask you, do you have a suit, right? Do you have a nice pair of socks? Do you have a nice smelling cologne? Do you have, let me pause this for a minute. Yeah, there's so many things you can do for yourself, man, as a young kid. I know a lot of us like technology, and there are things that can make you happy. A nice phone can make you happy. Not to impress anyone, just a nicer phone. You get your allowance, you get whatever you're getting, and you just, save up money, get yourself a nice phone. Save up money, get yourself take yourself out on a date. Go eat things you've never eaten before. Visit places you've never visited in your life. These things are memories worth investing in. Would it be nice for you to have a girlfriend and do it? Yes. But hear what I'm saying correctly. Have a girlfriend who values your happiness as well. Have a girlfriend, a partner who values your memories together, your time together, more than they value the aesthetics of a relationship. If your girlfriend wants to do Durban trips and you don't have Durban money, but she insists on getting money from you and she insists on taking these Durban vacations and all of that, maybe she's not the girl for you. And I'm not saying be single forever, be unhappy, but man, prioritize a life worth living. The one thing I envy my grandmother's generation is the experiences they've lived. My grandma worked at radio, she was a police officer at some point, she used to travel, she knew so many people. And my thing was like, it's amazing to hear such a fulfilled and full life at the end of it all. It's amazing to sit down with friends and say, you know, man, I went to such a restaurant, just went to get some steak. That was the best steak I've ever had in my life. It was so creamy, it was so nice. Met a few people, laughed, we joked about like stuff. I met new people. I got a chance to give myself love. You know, those are nice things to hear. You can't be hearing all the time. You can't be saying all the time, "Hey, she broke my heart. Oh, I like this girl and I tried to take her out and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 happened." It is not a life, a partnership that has to be paid for, a relationship that has to be paid for, a life that you need to overextend yourself for is not a nice life. I speak also from experience as a man to say, I'm not that old, but I'm old enough to say I have regrets about where my money has been spent over the years. And I can only wish for my peers, for anyone who finds these videos and says, for them to just change someone's perspective on life, for them to improve someone's perspective on life. That is all I wish for. And at the end of it all, man, you have one life. Do you want to spend most of it complaining, regretting, or do you want to gain experiences and have what you would also classify for yourself as a good life? You know. So with that being said, peace out, guys. See you next time.